Meanwhile, what is happening in the region? What do we know? And what is fueling the terror attacks on Israel? That is something that our next guest has been digging into for some time. He is Itamar Marcus, the founder and director of Palestinian Media Watch, and joins us live from Jerusalem today. Itamar, good to have you with us.
Hi, thank you very much for inviting me.
Of course. First and foremost, give us a sense of what things are like in Israel right now for you.
Everybody is shocked and horrified by what happened. We couldn't imagine that something like this could happen. The descriptions of the news stories, keep interviewing people who survived, and you have sometimes one person surviving in a family. Children have disappeared, family members. It literally sounds like Holocaust stories all over again. And we thought this wouldn't happen in Israel. Everybody's in shock.
I imagine so. How different? I mean, obviously, this is such a huge and immense terror attack on Israel. I wonder what it's like. I've never been to Israel. How constant is a fear of this type of attack looming in the minds of Israelis, or is this something that was completely unexpected?
Completely, totally unexpected. Even when we have periods of terror, people don't go through their day thinking about possible terror attacks. They go through the day thinking about who's going to win the next basketball game.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do in work? How's my job going? How's my family? People go through lives normally, and terrorism, even though it happens, is sort of on the back burner. That's why this was something that was so completely. I mean, no country. I mean, it was like 9/11. Who in America could have expected 9/11?
Yeah.
When we're talking about a country with 9 million people losing 1,300 or 1,400 people in a matter of 24 hours or 48 hours, I mean, think of 9/11, with its 3,000 or almost 3,000 people killed in a country with 100 to 300 million people. You realize the scope of what this was to Israel. Given that, I have to say, the army immediately called up the draft. We had close to 300,000 people who went immediately for the draft. In fact, there were so many people who weren't even drafted who went. There's an incredible spirit. The terror attack as much horrified everybody. It also galvanized the spirit of this country. No one is going to do this and get away with it. And that's why even people who I would say were on the left and always making excuses for the Palestinians over the years, no one's doing that anymore. Everyone wants us to go in there and get every single Hamas member, get every single leader, and we don't want to bring them back to jail either.
Let me talk about what is fueling all of this terror. You have an important report this week on the fact that the Palestinian Authority is spending millions of dollars now to reward the families of the terrorists who inflicted all of that chaos upon Israel. Tell us what you know.
The Palestinian Authority has a law in place since 2004 that every terrorist who gets arrested and goes to jail starts receiving a salary. It starts at about $350 or so a month, and eventually can get up to about $4,000 a month, which is four times the average Palestinian salary. So this is an enormous amount of money. It comes to about $300 or so million a year that the Palestinian Authority pays in salaries to terrorists and to families of what they call the martyrs. Now, 1,500 Hamas terrorists came into Israel, raped, butchered, burned people alive, slaughtered whole families, literally slaughtered whole families. Every one of those terrorists who was killed, their family is going to be getting for the first month, they're going to be getting 7,400 shekel, which is about, let's say, $2,000 from the Palestinian Authority. And then the family is going to get a monthly stipend for the rest of their life of about $350, just because their family member was a terrorist who went into Israel and raped and murdered. This is PA law.
Yeah, and this is a bounty on Israeli heads that the Palestinian Authority is paying. I'm seeing headlines right now that Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas has canceled an apparent scheduled meeting this week with President Biden in the wake of what we now believe to be a Gaza accidental Hamas attack on a hospital in Gaza that killed, they say, the Wall Street Journal reports, more than 500 people. What do Israelis think about the idea that, one, you have the U.S. president coming in, flying into Israel, obviously to show support for Israel, but then immediately after that, going to meet with the Palestinian Authority president?
Well, I'll tell you my take on this. I'm quite concerned about the United States policies toward the Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian Authority has been the supporter of terror. We just talked about the fact that they're going to reward these terrorists. They've educated the children to be terrorists over all the years that my organization, Palestinian Media Watch, has been following this. We've done reports on their school books for the last 20 years, and they are constantly teaching hatred, they're teaching terror. There are expressions in some of the reports that we've just come out with. For example, I could read to you, the liberation of Palestine will only be achieved through armed struggle. This is a Fatah magazine for children aged 5 to 15. Palestine liberated through armed struggle. Read history well, there's no Israel. The Zionist invaders will go in the garbage can of history. This is the education that created Hamas, but it came from the Palestinian Authority. Why am I concerned? Biden is going to the PA because he wants the Palestinian Authority to step in after Israel destroys Hamas. Well, it's the Palestinian Authority that created Hamas with all this hatred, hate education. We need another alternative. We can't have Hamas, but we can't have the Palestinian Authority. And President should not be going to meet with the head of an organization that rewards terror. He shouldn't have even scheduled to meet with the Palestinian Authority official.
Yeah, it is amazing that that's happening, especially in light of what you're talking about here, that the Palestinian Authority is paying bounties on the deaths of Israelis, of Jews. This is actually happening. And your organization is Palestinian Media Watch. I imagine you've been especially busy in the last week. How is Palestinian media representing the events that took place in Israel? Is there any acknowledgement whatsoever of the deaths and the brutalizing of women and children?
The official Palestinian Authority media, which is controlled by the government, the Palestinian Authority government, has been celebrating. They have had interviews praising, talking about this is a day of this is a heroic event. The Palestinian Authority across the board is supporting this, and they have to, because for years they're telling their people this is what they want. So they succeeded at a scale that was unimaginable, but they can't all of a sudden condemn it, because the people won't understand why they're condemning it. This is what you've been asking for all of these years. So as I say, the Palestinian Authority has never been a peace partner. The United States, the European Union, all of those countries that have forced the Palestinian Authority on Israel are in a certain respect almost responsible for what's happened here, because they have been funding the education of the PA and legitimizing the PA, even though they were a terror-supporting entity, and that's really what led to this.
Yeah, it's awful, and it's remarkable to me. I constantly talk about this. We're talking to Itamar Marcus. He's the founder and director of Palestinian Media Watch. It's remarkable to me to see the U.S. government, in this case the Biden administration, for as long as they've been doing it, funding Israel, offering support to Israel, and then simultaneously offering support, giving money to the Palestinian Authority, giving money to Gaza and Hamas, and it seems like funding both sides of these critical conflicts, just creating hell for the people that are caught in them.
Well, that's what the United States is trying to do. They're trying to be a bridge by giving money, literally hundreds of millions of dollars this year, to the Palestinians through UNRWA and from other projects that they call humanitarian projects, literally many, many hundreds of millions.
Right.
And by also being allies of Israel, they're hoping that they can bridge, make some kind of a bridge. But the problem is they listen to what the Palestinians say when they have a private meeting with them, and they talk peace. They say they want to live as neighbors, and they don't read what they're telling the children. They don't listen to what they're telling their own people on TV. And if America really wanted to know, if the Biden administration or any American official wanted to know what the Palestinians really want and where their end game is, Don't listen to them when they talk to you. Read what they tell their own people. That's my message to all the leaders around the world.
Yeah, it's a good idea. And look at Hamas's charter and what their goals for Israel are. They're not really shy about that fact at all. Itamar Marcus, again, founder and director of Palestinian Media Watch. Sir, we really appreciate your time today. Thank you for spending some with us and sharing this important reporting. Thank you very much.